Hello, everybody. So today we're going to our discussion of sixth grade curriculum. We're in Module 1, Lesson 1.1, Identifying Integers and Their Opposites. We're on page 7 of Lesson 1.1. So let's look at the Explore the Activity, because our essential question is, how can you identify an integer and its opposites? So there are some vocabulary words we need to know. Okay, we're vocabulary terms. Positive numbers. Those are numbers greater than 0. All right, simple enough. Positive numbers can be written with or without a plus sign. For example, 3 is the same as plus 3. Negative numbers are numbers less than 0. But negative numbers must always be written with a negative sign. Okay, so -1, you have to have the negative sign in front of it. -2, a minus sign in front of it. The positive integers, you can just write as regular whole numbers or with the plus sign. All right, so let's look at this first discussion. The elevation, the height of something, of a location, describes its height above or below sea level, which has elevation 0. So sea level is 0. Anything above sea level is positive. Anything below sea level will be a negative. So elevations below sea level are represented by negative numbers, and elevations above sea level are represented by positive numbers. So the table shows the elevations of several locations in a state park. Graph the locations on the number line according to their elevations. All right, so we see our number line 0, okay? And it says Little Butte, point A, is +5. So we know we have to go to the right of the 0, find 5, and I'm going to put point A right there. Cradle Creek is -5. So we're going to go to the left of 0 and put point B. Dinosaur Valley is -9. Mesa Ridge is 8, +8. And Juniper Trail is -3. And that's point E. All right. So which point on the number line represents sea level? 0. Which location is closest to sea level? And how do you know? Well, the closer we get to 0, the closer we are to sea level. Okay, so this point is 5 units away. This one is only 3 units away. So E. So point E was Juniper Trail. So just as a way of explaining it, Juniper Trail is only 3 units away from 0, while the rest are 5 or more units away. So 3 is closer than 5, right? All right. So D, which two locations are the same distance from sea level? Are these locations above or below sea level? All right. So let's see. -3, no, there's nothing on it. +3, we got 5. We also have 5 on this side. So 8 A's and B. So Little Butte, which is above sea level, it's positive. And Cradle Creek and that's below sea level. So same distance from sea level, they're 5 units away from zero. One's positive, one's negative. Which location has the lowest elevation? All right, so the lowest elevation would be the furthest below sea level. So which one in the negative direction is furthest away from zero? Point C. So Dinosaur Valley. So the further you are, the lower your elevation. Dinosaur Valley is the furthest. All right, so Dinosaur Valley. And keep in mind that the further you are below sea level, the lower your elevation. So Dinosaur Valley is the furthest to the left of zero and has to be the lowest elevation. All right, let's look at page 8. All right, so reflect on what we've done in activity 1. Morning Glory Stream is 7 feet below sea level. What number represents the elevation of Morning Glory Stream? 7 feet below sea level. Well, that means it's negative, right? It's below sea level. So we just write 7 as a negative number, -7. Explain how to graph the elevation of Morning Glory Stream on a number line. Go 7 units to the left of 0 and graph. Okay, simply go 7 units to the left of 0. To the left is negative, and graph that point. All right, so opposites. Two numbers are opposites if on a number line they are the same distance from 0, but on different sides of 0. So, for example, 5 and -5 are opposites. 0 is its own opposite. So what are integers? Integers are the set of all whole numbers and their opposites. So 9 and -9 are integers. 500 and -500 are integers, so on. All right, now for this activity, you're going to need graph paper, and you can use a ruler or a straight edge to draw a number line. We're going to label the number line with each integer from -10 to 0. Okay, so something like this. Okay, and then we're going to fold so that the crease goes through 0. And the numbers that fold over and match each other when you fold, those are opposites. It's really basically if -2, its opposite is 2. And when we fold it, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but when you fold it, the 2's meet. Okay, and so on, all the way out to 10. Okay? So again, it's kind of hard to see it, but negative 10 is here. Positive 10 is on the other side. Okay. So when they fold it, they go through each other. You'll notice that 0 is cut in half. It goes right through 0. All right. So use your number line to find the opposite of 7, negative 6, 1, and 9. All right. So if 7 is here, and I fold it over, negative 7 meets it. So negative 7, negative 6. If I fold it this way, I see that 6 will meet it. 1, negative 1 is folded there. And 9, negative 9 would meet it. Okay. So basically, it just has the opposite sign, right? Same number, opposite sign. So positives, we write the same number, but with a negative. Negative 6, we write the same number with either the plus sign or just 6. 1, we'd write negative 1. 9, we'd write 9, but with a negative. So how does your number line show that 0 is its own opposite? The crease goes through 0. So 0 lines up with itself. What is the opposite of 3? Well, this is positive 3, so we know its opposite is 3, but with a negative. Simple as that, guys. Okay, so justify reasoning. Explain how your number line shows that 8 and negative 8 are opposites. Well, they're the same distance. From 0. So look, negative 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units to the left. And 8, positive 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units to the right. So they're both 8 units away from 0. So 8 and negative 8 are the same distance from 0. 4. Explain how you use your number line to find the opposite of negative 6. Okay, well, if I fold the number line, negative 6 and 6 will line up. So 6 is the opposite of negative 6. Okay. So again, if you have your number line and you fold it, you'll see that negative 6 meets 6. All right, page 9. Integers and opposites on a number line. Positive and negative numbers can be used to represent real-world quantities. For example, 3 can represent a temperature that is 3 degrees Fahrenheit above 0. Negative 3 can represent a temperature that is 3 degrees Fahrenheit below 0. Both 3 and negative 3 are 3 units from 0. All right, so they're opposites, right? All right, so example 1. Sandy kept track of the weekly low temperature in her own town for several weeks. The table shows the low temperature in Fahrenheit for each week. So week number 1, it was negative 1. Week 2, it was 3 degrees. Week 3, negative 4 degrees. And week 4, 2 degrees. So graph the temperature from week 3 and its opposite on a number line. What do the numbers represent? So we see 4 up here, and we see negative 4 here. Well, the temperature was negative 4. Its opposite would be 4. So if you graph the values, that's where they would be on the number line. And the value from week 3 is negative 4, and graph a point 4 units below 0. So graph the opposite of negative 4, graph a unit 4 units above 0. And the opposite of negative 4 is 4. So what do they represent? Negative 4 represents a temperature that is 4 degrees Fahrenheit below 0. 4 represents a temperature that is 4 degrees above 0. Or positive 4 represents a temperature that is 4 degrees above 0. So B, the value for week 5 is the opposite of the value from week 1. What was the low temperature in week 5? So graph the value from week 1 on the number line. The value from week 1 is negative 1. Okay, so we see negative 1 on the number line. And then it says graph the opposite of negative 1. Well, the opposite of negative 1 is 1. But what's the opposite of 1? Negative 1. So the opposite of negative 1 is negative 1. So if you ask me for the opposite of something, it is that number. So the low temperature in week 5 was negative 1 degrees Fahrenheit. So explain how you can find the opposite of any number without using a number line. Okay. Okay, so to find the opposite of a number, it's just that number. Okay, so the opposite of 5 is 5. All right, page 10. Number 6, graph the opposite of the number shown on each number line. All right, so we have negative 1. That's 1 unit from 0, so its opposite is 1. Number 7. 7 is 7 units to the right of 0, so its opposite would be 7 units to the left of 0. So what's the opposite of each number? What's the opposite of 10? Negative 10. The opposite of negative 5? 5. The opposite of 0? 0. Remember, 0 is its own opposite. And what is the opposite of 4? Well, we said if you have the terms opposite of something, it's just that number. So 4. All right. Graph and label the following points on the number line. All right, negative 2. Right there. And we're going to call that A. B is 9. C is negative 8. D is negative 9. E is 5. And F is 8. Okay. All right, graph the opposite of the number shown on each number line. Well, the opposite of 2 is negative 2. 2 is 2 units to the right of 0. Negative 2 is 2 units to the left of 0. The opposite of negative 8, we have to go 8 units to the right of 0. So 8. The opposite of 0 is 0. All right, so let's just write the opposites of each number. 4 would be 4 units to the left of 0, negative 4. Negative 11 would be 11 units to the right of 0, so positive 11. Positive 3, its opposite would be 3 units to the left of 0, or negative 3. 8, okay, well, it's just opposite of 7, right? So positive 3 is the opposite of negative 3. 0, its opposite is 0. 22, would be the same thing, but 22 units to the left of 0, so negative 22. All right, 11. The amount of money in Gerardo's savings account went from $450 to $420. Explain how to use a negative integer to describe the change. Okay, so what happened here? So we have 450, and then it went down to 420. So we can say that his bank account lost $30, right? Because 450 is higher than 420. So $30 can be written as a negative charge over negative 30. Because it shows a decrease. Okay, so a decrease can be shown with negatives. Okay. Page 11, number 12. Atoms normally have an electric charge of 0. Certain conditions, such as static, can cause atoms to have a positive or a negative charge. Atoms with a positive or negative charge are called ions. Okay, so your little chemistry lesson for today. All right, so ion A has a negative charge of 3. Ion B has a positive 1 charge. Ion C has a negative 2 charge. Ion D has a positive 3 charge. And ion E has a negative 1 charge. So which ions have a negative charge? Well, A does, C does, and E. Which ions have charges that are positives? Okay, well, B and D. Which ion's charge is not the opposite of another ion's charge? All right, well, let's see. Negative 3 and 3 are opposites. 1 and negative 1 are opposites. So negative 2 doesn't have an opposite. So ion C. Name the integer that meets the given description, the opposite of negative 17. So it's going to be 17, but to the right of 0. 4 units left of 0. Anything to the left of 0 is negative. The opposite of 2 is just 2. 15 units to the right of 0. Anything to the right is positive. 12 units right of 0, again, would be a positive. And the opposite of negative 19 would be 19 units to the right of the 0. Okay. 19. A. So, a trainer studying dog diets weighs each dog weekly. Changes in weights from last week are shown in the chart. So, we have dog Lady lost 2 pounds, negative 2. Coco gained 6 pounds. Zeus gained 2 pounds. Bandit gained 5 pounds. Sparky didn't gain or lose anything. And Rocky lost 5 pounds. So, did Coco lose or gain weight since last week? Coco. So, we find Coco, and we see that it doesn't have a negative in front of it. So, that dog had a gain. Which dog's weight change is the opposite of Zeus's? Okay, well, the opposite of 2 is negative 2. So we want Lady. Which dogs have lost weight since last week? So loss would be represented by a negative number, right? So Lady lost. She lost 2 pounds. And Rocky, he lost 5 pounds. Which dog's weight remained the same? Well, Sparky's did. his weight change is 0. Okay. So his weight change is 0, which indicates neither a loss or gain. A dog named Lucky had a weight change that was opposite of Coco's. What was Lucky's weight change? So we find Coco. That one was positive 6, gained 6 pounds. So we're going to have same units to the left of 0, though. And so Lucky lost 6 pounds. So the trainer's goal was to have Lucky gain weight. Was the goal met? No. -6 indicates a loss of weight. Loss of weight, not a gain. Right, number 12. Page 12, I mean. Number 20. Find the distance between the given number and its opposite. Find the distance between its number and its opposite. All right, so 6 is positive 6, right? So to get to its opposite, we have to go back 6 to get to 0, and then 6 more to get to -6. So that's 12. So if we start at -2, we have to go 2 units to the right to get to 0, and then 2 more to get to +2. So 4. The opposite of 0 is 0, so we don't have to move. So -7, we're going to go 7 units to the right to get to 0, and then we have to go 7 more units to get to +7, so 14. So you might notice that to go from one number to its opposite, it's basically twice that number of units. Okay, because we're having to go back that number to get to 0, and then that same number to get to its opposite. All right, 24. What if 3 contestants are competing on a trivia game show? The table shows their scores before the final question. Timothy is at -25 points, Shauna is at 18 points, and Kaylin is at -14 points. How many points must Shauna earn for her score to be the opposite of Timothy's score before the final question? Well, Timothy is 25, so 25 minus 18. It's just 7, right? So she has to score 7 more points. I want to go back here and just write units just to make sure we're clear what we were doing. So I just wanted to make sure that it's 12 units, 0 units, 4 units, and 14 units to get to their opposites. All right, which person's score is closest to 0? Again, so which one is the furthest away from 0? Timothy. So which one is closest? Kaylin. Who do you think is winning the game before the final question? Well, Shauna's the only one with a positive score. All right, 25. Which number is farther from 0 on the number line? -9 or 6? 9 is, right? -9. 9 units from 0 is more than 6 units from 0. Simple as that, right? So 26. A number is k units to the left of 0 on the number line. Describe the locations of its opposite. Well, okay, well, so basically we're saying like k units to the left of 0. Maybe that's 5 units to the left of 0. Well, wouldn't its opposite be 5 units to the right? So its opposite would be k units to the right of 0. So whatever k is, it's the same right or left. All right, 27. Roberto says that the opposite of a certain integer is negative 5. Cindy concludes that the opposite of an integer is always negative. Well, no, it can't be. Because integers can be positive or negative to start, right? Okay, so the opposite of an integer is not always negative. It depends on what you're starting with. Okay, so for instance, if I start with a negative integer, the opposite would be positive, not negative. And also keep in mind, 0 is its own opposite, and it's not negative. So no, she's not, her conclusion is not correct. All right, 28. Explain how to use a number line to find the opposites of the integers 3 units away from negative 7. All right, so 3 units away from negative 7. 3 units from negative 7 could be negative 10, 8, 9, 10, right? That would be 3 units to the left of negative 7. Or we can go 3 units to the right of negative 7, and that would be negative 4. So the opposites would be 10 for negative 10 and 4 for negative 4. All right, so that's it for our first module, lesson 1.1. And so in our next one, we will continue. And so until then, I'll see you soon.